Hey everyone, so I'll be covering my first ever 7-0 run in Sylph, and it was in the Vortex Cup. I'll go over my teams and show all the battles of my opponents. I'll talk a little bit more about my team as we go through the matches and explain kind of how it works. So, as you can tell, I definitely ran a little bit spice. My first opponent here does have a Shadow Dragonite, which is actually pretty strong against my team. So I am going to draw out the fighter with my Zweilous here. I did have to fast forward these battles quite a bit just because there's a lot to go through. But Primeape is very strong in this cup. I did bring Shadow Machoke, which probably a lot of people are wondering, did it work out? And long story short, no, it did not. I won, I think, maybe a total of 2 battles with Shadow Machoke in all of my matchups throughout all the different tournaments. So this is already not going so well for me. The close combat did a ton of damage, and I pretty much just need to take out this Ninetales, but they're going to shield, and unfortunately my health is a little bit too low, so I am kind of hard checked throughout, unfortunately, for this specific matchup. So this was definitely one of my losses in the tournament. I actually had a total of only 2 lost battles, so you already saw half of them. But yeah, so good games by my opponent right here. And then Shadow Dragonite able to win CMP over Zweilous. So I'm going to come with my Primeape and just counter down. Once the Dragonite is taken out of the way, my Ninetales in the back can be pretty solid. I will say Shadow Ninetales was actually quite strong for me, which is why I actually liked it a lot. As you can see, so the big thing is, even when doing neutral damage, it does a lot of damage. Even Resistance sometimes does a decent amount of damage. My Shadow Ninetales here is going to draw that last shield, which is really nice. I still have 2 shields, but I just let the Weather Ball go. I figured even if Side Shot could just counter down the opposing Ninetales, but after they baited with the Weather Ball first, I'm going to just shield the second Weather Ball and go straight and try to take out the Frost Size. But as you can see here, not enough, so I'm going to bring in my Primeape and finish off this Frost Size right here. I should just counter it down just because it was low enough. Primeape is just so strong in this cup. Shadow Machoke, I thought a double fighter strategy would work kind of well, but the problem is a lot of teams are ready for fighters, which means that they're going ready for Machoke even if they're not planning to be ready for Machoke, just because they're ready for Primeape. So in this last matchup, I go in with a Galvantula lead with a Primeape and Cancel Ninetales in the back. And once I get rid of this Rainy Cast form, I should be in a pretty good spot. I did decide to run Ice Punch on my Primeape. Not really for the Dragonite, to be honest, but I was able to bait out Shield there, so hopefully they think this next one is Ice Punch as well, which ends up working out. And then here comes the Dragonite. Dragonite is definitely a strong check to Ninetales as well. Really great catch by my opponent right there. So I'm just coming with my Ninetales and try to finish this guy off as soon as possible. I need to build up to a Side Shock here. They actually go straight Weather Ball, which makes me think that maybe they're running Solar Beam on this Ninetales. Oh no, they actually do run Side Shock. Interesting. But I'm going to go for a Weather Ball here and then go for the Side Shock right after. And hopefully it is enough to take out this Shadow Dragonite. And it is. Yeah. So super close match. I actually almost dropped the very first set. Going into the next matchup, I go in with Zweilous, Primeape, and Galvantula, and I kind of forgot that Charm is a thing on Kanto Raichu, so it took me off guard, so I did have to swap to my Primeape even though it takes super effective damage. While I'm running Ice Punch on my Primeape over Close Combat or Cross Chop, I actually have a Legacy one with Cross Chop, but in my scrims ahead of time, I was practicing into a lot of Glygars and Gliscors, so I figured the Ice Punch would be good coverage there, but unfortunately in practice, it actually didn't come in handy as much as you think. So Cross Chop is probably solid, and so is Close Combat, does a lot of damage. Honestly, most of the time you're just throwing Night Slashers, even against opposing, even against opposing Primeapes. Alright, so I just want to get rid of that Raichu as soon as possible, just because that charm damage is definitely adding up. I'm going to lunge this Rainy Cast, and it's going to be debuffed quite a bit, and I have a bunch of energy on my Zweilous still, and so I'm going to drop back-to-back Body Slams and take it out right here. I guess the lunge was a little bit of a risk, because if they didn't shield it, actually no, if they didn't shield it, they would have got KO'd by the Volt Switches. Alright. So, going to the very next matchup, now I'm ready for the Charm, so I brought in my Kanto Ninetales, which is really my only check to Charm. I didn't really expect a lot of Charm in this cup, to be honest, so I didn't really come super prepared to deal with it. But yeah, Zweilous is pretty solid. It is a dark type I decided to bring. I could have brought Mandibuzz is actually very strong in this cup too. The only issue is I don't actually have a Mandibuzz, so I couldn't bring it. But I actually like Zweilous quite a bit as well. Yeah, it did the job for me. But I think Mandibuzz overall is probably a better pick. So definitely something to consider if you want to run a similar team. Honestly, whether you go Zweilous or Mandibuzz, my main recommendation is just don't go Shadow Machoke. It could be solid bench pressure though. So we'll see that a little bit in maybe later matches. But overall, it's just, yeah, it was much harder to use than you think. Especially against Frostlass teams, because Frostlass resists all of Shadow Machoke's moves. Shadow Machoke as well, and so we're going to the third match. The set is already decided, but we're going to play out the third one. The issue with Shadow Machoke is it's very pricey because it's Shadow, and you have to use Elite TM to teach it Cross Chop. So not only is it Elite TM, it's also Shadow. It's very costly, and it probably won't have too much play outside this meta, or maybe one or two other metas. So use it at your own risk. I did go up against one opponent that did beat me with the Shadow Machoke, but they weren't running Primeape themselves. I don't know how the rest of the tournament went for them, but they did beat me in a different cup, so they probably figured out how to use it much better than I did. Alright, so here comes that Charmchu again, but it's fine. I do have the Ninetales in the lead to kind of really... my main goal is to bait out the Raichu and then sweep with those Zweilous in the back. So I do shield the first one. As you can tell, yeah, that Ninetales builds energy really quickly. You could obviously run regular Ninetales over Shadow, but I think I like the damage of Shadow more, and it gives your opponent a little less of farm if they're in a positive matchup there for them. Right, and so I'm going to just let the Weather Ball go just so that I can save a shield for the Raichu, and then also have the Body Slam ready for it. Yeah, so good games there. Going into the third match, I go in with Galvantula, Primeape, and Frostlass. This is actually really, really bad for me because it's a Rock Throw Propass, which most are in this cup, and then my only counter to it is my Primeape, which I swapped to. So yeah, maybe not the best decision by me. And then now I have to shield the Aqua Tail as well, so I'm also down a shield. Or no, we're on even shield, but I got something that I really can't beat in the back end. So this is gonna be interesting. Let's see how I play this out. I don't actually remember how I play this out, to be honest. It looks pretty bad from my POV right now too. Alright, so they don't shield both dischargers, which is really nice. So I'm going to come in, but here's the issue. Primeape with shields, so deadly, so deadly. So this actually looks like it was my second loss of the tournament. So here you go, here you see the second one. Yeah, so this... not a great team comp in my opinion. I thought that Shadow Machoke being on the team would also provide enough bench pressure for people not to bring stuff like Propass, but this opponent still doesn't care. They go in Propass. So I do bring in the Shadow Machoke. So we have a chance to see it. I do bring the double fighters here, just in case I do run into that Propass. And then my opponent actually does shield the Night Slash, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to go for the second one to maybe try to win Switch, but they definitely don't want to lose Switch here as well. And they do throw their move right here, which is good because now I have a shield advantage still. And then my Frostlass they're probably going to go Aqua Tail here, so I'm going to let it go. And then we're going to just farm down. Have a lot of energy in my Frostlass, which is really nice. But they're going to come in with that Propass, so I'm going to bring in my Shadow Machoke here. I do have to shield, because again, Shadow Machoke just can't really tank much. I go straight for a Dynamic Punch, it's going to do more damage than the Cross Chop. Cross Chop might not be enough to take it out. And then now I have the Shadow Machoke for the Propass. As you can see, it's going to do a ton of damage. All right. I think my main gripe with Shadow Machoke is that it doesn't have counter. And Karate Chop, although it generates energy fast, doesn't do much damage, unlike the counters from Primeape. So I finally called the lead correctly. They go Propass 3 games in a row, pretty gutsy. Yeah, so we are going to CMP there, but that's fine. I'm going to take out this Primeape. I don't mind being down a shield because Primeape is going to do really, really well against the Propass. They end up actually coming in Gyarados, so this is kind of perfect because I have my counters lined up. And then I am going to shield the Aqua Tail because I don't have to worry about too much with Primeape here. I'm just go straight Night Slash, really good no shield call by them. And then I decide to just go straight counter at this point because I know that I'm not going to be able to get to another charge move in time anyway. Enough charge moves. And I just Volt Switch down the Gyarados. So good games there. All right, going to the fourth matchup, we're going with Frostlass lead. So I go in Galvantula, Primeape, Galvantula, and Frostlass. I like this coverage really well, and I get a boost there, which is huge. Anytime you get a boost in this cub, can definitely help a lot. And then I like this team composition a lot because you have both Galvantula and Frostlass to check Hypnos, which a lot of you use as their Primeape counter. And then they take out my Primeape, that's fine. The main thing I realized is that there aren't too many things in the back end that my Primeape needs to do to take out. So as you can see here, you know, even though I don't have Primeape, my backline has a lot of coverage against that Lapras, Swilus, and even Quagsire to a degree. So even if I didn't win Switch here, it was fine. And they let the Shadow Ball go and end up being able to take out the Blaziken. So I think they thought it was baiting, but didn't end up working out so well. Alright, so I come in my Frostlass here. I thought I was going to catch an Avalanche, but not good enough. So they do throw a Shadow Ball, which is nice. And then I was able to bait out Shield there, especially after last time I figured they probably would Shield more likely than not. And then I bring in my Primeape right here. And so the Primeape is just going to do a lot of damage right here, and I still have the Galvantula. The Frostlass, although it's still alive, it's a little bit lower on energy. So I'm going to just spam away to my Galvantula and see what comes out. It's going to be a Zwilus, so this is really nice. I was worried about the sack, but they sacked it perfectly there. So I end up not swiping a single bubble. And this is going to be kind of tricky, but after the debuff, I actually end up working out perfectly there. And then I'm going to throw another lunge. Not enough to take out the Swilus, but I do have the Night Slash stored on my Primeape. Super close match, really great sack by my opponent. Fortunately, I was able to still farm down the Frostlass and survive the Avalanche too, actually. That was what surprised me the most. Yeah, so Galvantula definitely been a fun Pokemon, in my opinion, to use in this cup. Not too many fires as well, and even against Whiscash, it has a little bit of play with the lunges adding up. And same thing with Quagsire too, actually. It's not like a win per se, but in certain situations, you actually can pull out some possible wins. All right, and then I just counter down this Swilus. This Hypno comes in again. I just went the same 3 mons actually in all of these. And then with the shield advantage here, I'm not really going to bait just because I have a lot of shields. I'm going to send both shields on this Frostlass. So I'm going to definitely charge up a little bit extra energy because they're dumping all their energy right now with the Blaze Kick. So I just want to get ahead on energy just so I have enough for the Shadow Ball right away against the Hypno. Not right away, but sooner than they can get to their moves. Oh, actually, I go straight Avalanche here, which I guess works too at this health range. And then, yeah, going Powder Snow down. All right, going into I believe this is the 5th matchup. Mana Buzz. A lot of people running that Air Slash Mana Buzz, which is definitely tough. Like I said, for the double fighter line, it is very hard to bring into. All right, so they bring in a Shadow Dragonair actually into the Frostlass, which definitely threw me off a little bit, but I'm just going to double shield here and see what happens here. Shadow Dragonair is going to do a decent amount of damage to that Primeape as well, but they are a little bit behind on that switch timer. So what I'm going to do is come in with my Primeape and then swap to my Zwilus and hopefully catch an Aqua Tail. It's probably Aqua Tail, and it is, so that's perfect. Draw some of that energy. If they have a Primeape in the back, it's going to be kind of tough, but it ends up being a Quagsire. So this is good. I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Pulse. A lot of people like to bring Mud Boys in my team, so Quagsire and Whiscash a lot. So I kind of anticipate it and try not to bring the thing super weak to it in the first games at least. So this opponent is going to go for the Aerial Ace, and it's going to do a decent amount of damage, but I do get to the Body Slam in time and take out the Mana Buzz. And then I come in with my Primeape to finish off the Quagsire. Going into this next matchup, I actually bring in my Primeape Frostlass Galvantula line again. And so Raining Catz is not too bad to see in the lead because it does do pretty solid against my Frostlass. So getting this taken out early on is nice. They actually do a great swap to their Frostlass. But that Night Slash, as you can tell from before, is going to do a decent amount of damage. And I go straight for a lunge right here. I don't know if this is a good call. Maybe I should just go on discharge. No, but they actually let it go, and the lunge is actually enough to take it out. I thought it was going to be just a little short, but it ends up working out, and I go for lunge right here. So this is going to do neutral as opposed to super effective from discharge, but debuffing this Mana Buzz will be huge, and I think most Mana Buzz will probably still shield. The lunge still does a decent amount of damage, and they have 2 shields left anyway at the time. and they actually double shield, which is nice. And then at this point, they clear the debuff, but now I have a discharge ready to finish off the Mana Buzz. Yeah, still have the Frost Dust in the back too. Didn't see too much play in that one, but that's all good. And then I go in again with the Primate Froslass Galvantula core. Ends up working out pretty well. Primate Safe Swap is a little tricky here, so I do end up, yeah, I guess I let this close combat go. Interesting. So I guess I come in with the Galvantula, and then I'm going to let this move go as well. It's going to be a nice slash. I'm just going to tank all the moves. Why not? Here comes the Quagsire here. Quagsire is going to do a decent amount of damage. Now, my biggest concern is if they have a Rainy Cast in the back, but it ends up being a Froslass. So, great catch to catch a lunge right there. I'm going to go straight for a discharge at this point. I do get to it. The lunge actually worked out great because the Powder Stones were not doing enough to take out my Galvantula quick enough. And then now, as you see, we're just both racing to our charge moves. I'm going to build up to 2 Avalanches to take out this Quagsire. It should be enough right here. And yep, I have a back-to-back stored. I'm going to throw the second Avalanche and take out the Quagsire. Alright, going into match number 6. I go in with Shadow Ninetales with Froslass and Primeape in this one. They go straight to Mandibuzz. This is actually a foul play, or Snarl Mandibuzz. So that is doing super effective Snarl damage, but Snarl damage luckily doesn't hit that hard. And they actually let the move go, so that's good because I could just farm down this Mandibuzz. Cutting it kind of close though, to be honest. I have a decently ranked Froslass, so it worked out perfectly. And I actually built enough energy for Shadow Ball, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get to it, so I throw the Avalanche. Luckily, I still drew the shield. So that's huge. And then now I have alignment, and I can just take out the Quagsire. So I do have to watch out for the Earthquake here, so I'm just making sure to count the moves properly. It's always good to shield anyway, because if you guess it wrong, then you're in a really bad spot. So now I get to a nice slash. I should be in a good spot. They actually shield here, which is fine with me, because then the Quagsire is not going to have enough to take out my Ninetales. I'm going to just fire spin it down, throw the Weather Balls, and take out the Froslass. It's not going to be enough to one-shot it, but that farm down on the Quagsire helped a lot there. Alright, going into the second match, I bring in my Primeape with a Froslass and Zweilous in the back. Zweilous is very good against Ninetales, but I definitely don't want my Froslass to see that Ninetales, so I'm going to just stay in with Primeape, and I get a boost. Boost always helps quite a bit. And I'm going to go for that second Night Slash just to take it out before it gets to Weather Ball, but they do get to the Weather Ball, so I'm going to double shield. It's kind of worth it with the boost. Nothing really wants to see this, to be honest. They come in with their own Primeape, and I get to another Night Slash, which is huge. I do draw the shield, and then I'm going to come in with my Froslass, so they can't like farm me down with another counter. So they throw the Night Slash. They throw back-to-back Night Slash, which is not good, because now I'm going to take super effective damage from this from the counters, but luckily not enough to take me out. And then I do get to the Dark Pulse just before the Froslass gets Avalanche. So actually the farm down on Primeape ended up working out because it helped me get a little bit energy advantage for the race against Froslass. Alright, going to this next match, I go in with the Kanto Ninetales and Froslass Primeape core again. This time, I kind of overfarm a little bit, so I actually played this a little bit riskier, because now I don't know if they're going to shield the first one or not. They do shield, which means they're probably going to shield the second one. Puts me in a tough spot. It is a Snarl Mandibuzz though, so it is not going to do super effective with those fast moves against my Primeape. But I'm in a tough spot here because I don't really have a hard check to this Mandibuzz. Ninetales will do okay neutral damage, but Mandibuzz is quite bulky. But after they drop all their energy, I decided to come in with my Primeape and just counter this down. I'm just committed to a farm down here and do as much damage as possible. I do stack up 2 Night Slashes here, so it's pretty good. I could have actually farmed up another counter probably, or 2 of energy, but I decided to just dump the Night Slashes right away. So a slight misplay by me, but it's all good. And here comes the opposing Primeape here. They go straight for a Night Slash. I go for my Night Slash, and then my Ninetales still has energy, so I'm going to drop that Weather Ball as soon as possible. This is where the shadow damage comes in handy, really closes out the gap there, and then I get to another Weather Ball just in time against the Mandibuzz. If the Mandibuzz threw a move right there, then I could just counter down with my Primeape, so it ended up working out. Going into the 7th and final match, this is a very spicy team, double Shadows, a Shadow Gallade as well, and having played against a Shadow Gallade, or Gallade in a prior tournament, I realized that most are probably running Charm, which is why I decided not to bring in my Zweilous. But honestly, Zweilous into this team is actually really tough anyway. It doesn't really have a lot of positive matchups in general. Pretty much everything on the team has play against Zweilous. So yeah, but what I recognize is the team is quite weak to Shadow Ninetales. So Shadow Ninetales coming in clutch again. Probably not the Shadow you thought would come in clutch. You probably thought it was going to be Shadow Machoke. But no, that's just more spice, just for show than anything else. All right, so they come in with Discharge, and I like Frostlass against Galvantula a lot because with shields down, they have to go Discharge, which means they can't debuff you. I come with my Galvantula, and as expected, here is the Shadow Gallade. Gallade definitely looks very good against my team, especially with Charm, because it beats Zweilous, Primeape, Machoke, has play against 2 of the other mons. It really just had to watch out for Shadow Ninetales. But that's the main reason why I didn't bring in any of the ones that are super weak to Gallade in the first match, because I kind of expected it coming. Alright, they go straight for Earthquake here. For some reason, they stay in quite a bit, which means I think they don't have a strong check to Primeape in the back. They do have the Shadow Gallade, but I'm going to farm it down right here with the Ninetales. As you can see, those Charms still do a ton of damage, even against a resisted Pokemon that has resistance against Charm. They actually bring their Lapras here, which now I understand why they stayed in so long in that first match, because their only check was Gallade in the back. And I think they didn't expect to see Primeape after not seeing it in the first game. I'm going to let this go and just come in with my Primeape and start farming down. I do drop Night Slash here to hopefully force a shield, and I come with my Frostlass. Frostlass is going to do pretty well here. The Power Snows are super effective, and the Fire Punches are super effective, but they don't have stab, and you know, you need a couple to take out the Frostlass. And able to finish off the Lapras right here. So going to the final battle of the tournament, as we can see, here comes the Shadow Gallade again. I do love the safe swap with Shadow Ninetales against this team. The main thing is also Shadow Ninetales is resisting that ice damage as well, which means that Lapras can only really rely on Surf to take out the Ninetales. So as you can see right here, I'm going to outpace this Lapras again, which makes it a really great safe swap against this team. And then here comes the Diggersby. So Diggersby comes in. I'm going to drop these Weather Balls, which are still going to do neutral. And Diggersby is bulky, but as you can see, this Ninetales is still chunking away at this team. Chunking away. And then they kind of have to go for Earthquake here. Fire Punch actually won't take me out. So correctly, they do go for the Earthquake. But then here comes the Gallade after I brought out the Frostlass, so they're going to bring in the Gallade, and they're going to charm me down here. So at least this Gallade is debuffed, which means now I can at least farm a little bit off of this Gallade, and hopefully I get to Avalanche before we get the Fire Punch, and able to finish off the Diggersby right there. So yeah, so that was pretty much how I went 7-0 this cup. I definitely didn't play all my Vortex Cups this well, but for this specific one, it worked out quite well for me. A big shout out to the Aarhus Denmark staff for hosting this tournament. With that sweep, that actually brought me to 8th in the global rankings for Silph, which was pretty awesome, and honestly, probably the highest I'll be for the entire year, so I'm taking the screenshots while I can. Best of luck for everyone else who's still wrapping up their Vortex Cup for this month. A big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like to have early access to strategies and lineups, especially stuff for Silph Cups, ahead of time, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.